welcome back to my channel, A Page in My Diary. I'm Paige, PMC, P Smooth, or whatever you want to call me, it will do. You already know what it is. And today we are doing a video. I want to create a new series on my channel called Tea Time with the Homies, where I'm hanging out with the home scale of biscuits, the homies. This is Phoebe. She was in one of my videos over the summer when we went to go see Odessa. I just wanted to do this series where I can just bounce off the energy of my friends when we're talking about different topics. Phoebe and I have been talking about wanting to do a video about talking about divine intervention. I was just saying I wish I had like an actual definition of divine intervention, but you were saying what you were...
I think divine intervention is like, I don't know, if you're someone who believes in like the universe or something bigger than you or God or whatever you want to call it, like whatever you want to do, that there is some guiding force with it. That like while we have like free will, like there are certain things that in this life are just meant to kind of be, and no matter what circumstance, divine intervention will be at play to make sure what's meant for you comes for you.
It won't miss you.
It won't miss you. It's kind of like divine guidance also, like moments of being like just a weird life circumstance happening, pushing you in a certain direction. Yes. Or you meet somebody, like you cross paths with this person by happenstance, and it was divine intervention because it was like a lesson you needed to learn. Like that kind of shit. Like a little more esoteric we'll get out there. Like,
divine intervention can look like so many things. Like you're saying, it could be, you know, spirit coming in and taking someone out of your life, putting someone in your life. I don't know, like a job situation. You're having like issues with work in your day-to-day life, like as you're kind of going into like whatever you do for work, and in the back of your mind, your intuition is like not feeling what you're doing every single day. Subconsciously, you're just telling yourself that you're not about it, and whatever higher being you believe in, spirit, is just like, girl, I'm listening to you. And down the line, something happens and a shift happens. And I feel like for me, when it comes to divine intervention, the more I feel like I tap into myself and I get an understanding of divine intervention, I'm recognizing where I'm at today. Like when I like evaluate my past, I feel like there have been so many situations where I just had so much resistance or like judgment towards something being taken out of my life for whatever reason. And it's not until later on when I'm like, oh, okay, this had to happen. But still like questioning it. Like, why did I have to go through that?
Like I have a story of when, so I've been somebody who's struggling to find like just my alignment with like career, like what it is I want to do, and I've always struggled with feeling like I'm in a lack mindset, and I struggle with money and blah, blah, blah. But truly, I feel like a good example of divine intervention in my life was I was working for like a corporate company. Yikes.
Yeah. Get me away from it.
But you know what? So, all right. But I thought it was like, at least it was tolerable because it was a cool concept. I was working for like a unique business. I'm not going to drop their name.
Listen, it's tea time with the homies. We can say whatever the fuck we want to say.
Well, all right. Technically, it was Urban Outfitters Corporation, but I worked for a company called Terrain. And
I don't think they're everywhere. Are they?
They're becoming everywhere.
Okay. Because I feel like I did not learn.
Corporate, they're going to expand.
I didn't learn about Terrain until I came home.
Came to the East Coast.
Yeah.
Because it is an East Coast based concept. I mean, that's because Urban Outfitters is based out of Philadelphia. Yeah. It's one of the only, fun fact, it's one of the only like fashion companies, like one of like the top, you know, grossing, I don't know, revenue bullshit, yada yada, finance talk, companies though, that is based out of Philly, and because everything else is based out of like LA and New York and all these other fashion capitals, and Philly's not really on the books. Yeah. So like Urban kind of put Philadelphia on the books, which, you know, being from right outside of Philly, it's kind of like, oh, that's on us.
Yeah. But I worked at Urban and did not even listen, and I didn't even
know. The discount. But we hate capitalism.
Listen, but you know what? Even divine intervention, when I was working at Urban, I had to stop working there because I was doing this one event. This is a side note. I was doing this one event. It was like a signing for Lana Del Rey. We love Queen. Look, I have a tattoo quote from I love Lana, but let me tell you,
Lana.
Shorty's a little She's a little uptight. And she was just like, none of the employees who work here are allowed to come upstairs where like our lockers are and stuff like that. Nobody's allowed to come here. I'm gonna be in the back like doing like the green, like in the green screen room or whatever. She was like, nobody is allowed to be on the floor with me. And like none of us who were working to sell her record like were allowed to meet her. Like all of the fans who had wristbands were, but I'm like, but we're helping sell your thing. That's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is that was the last day that I worked at Urban because I didn't like how they were treating me that day. And that was divine intervention. Like,
oh yeah. I had a kind of similar experience.
Was it Lana? Girl,
it was
Lana.
a little different, but it involved some fire.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all need to hear this story.
So, this is the universe, just being the universe. But this is also like me living my life and it being a shit show 90% of the time. But anyway, so I worked for Drain and I was initially just a bartender because they have like this, Drain is this, I'll describe what Drain is. Think Urban Outfitters aesthetic, but it is a greenhouse restaurant and then it's got a like cute little rustic event venue, and then there's also this
cute.
like
I'm not even gonna
retail and like home kind of decor store, plant store,
it's
nursery. It's, I don't know, it's like a hipster nursery. But anyway, so I was one of the event coordinators, and one night, which like I had asked Universe, this is what it really was. I had set out to the Universe, because Sony does this, but I set out to the Universe, I said, hey, you know, show me a sign if I'm supposed to stay at this job. So then
Spear said noted.
Spear said heard. So then that night, literally after I had said that, because I was like on the fence about staying with this company, just for a lot of ethical reasons. But anyway, this event was a bridal shower. Bridal showers are supposed to be super easy. Like they're not a wedding. It's not somebody's big day. It's not a surprise party. It's just a bridal shower. So we're gonna bleep on this show. But so anyway, I get to work. I'm all happy, like yeah, just go about my day, having a good time. And so if you could, not to disgrace anybody here, but if you've seen The Real Housewives of New Jersey,
It's a type.
yeah, it's a type. And then specifically a character, Teresa, would be the best kind of description of the type of women that were hosting this event with our company.
It's a bridal shower, yeah.
At Terrain. So anyway, mind you, it's a barn. It's a renovated barn. So it's not, this isn't the Ritz-Carlton, okay? We're not looking at like crystal, glass floors here. It's like dirty wood.
It's a barn.
It's a dirty wood. And these women show up with like floor-length ball gowns that are like bubblegum pink. And they're like tulle, they're like water flowy. And so I was like, okay, interesting choice. This is an interesting clash of energy.
We're going with it.
But we're going with it. We're going to roll with it. So then, of course, and this is like a really bizarre thing, was my boss had come up to me and was like, hey, I may not manage this just because like, me and the client got into it last week, which I'd never heard my boss say, because I was like, what? That never happens. And so she was like, I'm going to have one of the other managers run it. So tensions are already real high for this event. You know what I mean? Like the ball is sky high in terms of standards and where our expectations need to be coming from my bosses and from the client. So it was a high stress situation. And we're getting all things set up, yada yada. The bride's bridesmaids, were just barking at us to get stuff done that we weren't doing anything right either. So it's just like breathing fire, like dragons loose in
Treat people that are in the restaurant industry
with respect.
and have some kindness in your heart.
But so yeah, they were definitely a little rough around the edges. And so then my boss assigns me to go light the candles in the dining room. And so I'm supposed to go light the bonfire outside, which I did. And then I went inside to try and light the candles on the table. And yeah, the client though had brought in all these dried flowers as like decor. So like dried pampas flowers, just like a whole, like just a whole brush fire worthies of dried flowers, like 15 to 20 pounds of it on the tables. And they're like 12-foot long tables. So we're talking like pretty large. This is huge. And my boss tells me to go light open flame candles next to it. And I was like,
Don't know.
okay. And and I said, I just like didn't question. And so then I went to go light them, and I'm trying to pull them as far away from the fucking,
From the flowers.
Yeah, from the flowers as far as possible. But the table's very crammed with lots of things, okay? Because this bridal shower had like all the games and the name tags and the napkins and the wine glass and the champagne flute and another wine glass. Anyway, it was a lot on the table. So anyway, I'm pulling the candles away, and I get to light the last candle. And I literally bumped a plate that hit another glass, that hit a candle, and then the candle slid under like a little pampas grass. Just a little one. And then I just watched it sizzle. And within like 5 seconds, it was just like bonfire. The biggest bonfire I ever attended. And yeah, the flames were like 6 feet high. And then I have like Teresa over here from Real Housewives of New Jersey screaming in my face. Like she is verbally accosting me.
Not even trying to see if you're good?
No check-in. Just like, I mean, I can't even say the profanities that were yelled at me by this woman. And then I was getting like physically threatened by the bridesmaids. Like they're like, I'm gonna punch her in the face. And I was like, I'm gonna get beat up right now after setting this fire. So anyway, you could just picture the shit show that it was. And then, eventually I'm just getting, kind of gawked at by these women. And my boss comes up to me and was like, you gotta go. Like they're pissed and like, you really messed up. And I was like, oh, I messed up. Okay, because it was my call to put, anyway. Wasn't my call to put open fire next to the dried flowers. And honestly, I looked at it as like, I'm glad I did it and that a guest didn't do it. Right, because if a guest did it that night, they could have set themselves on fire. Nobody was around the table. So I don't know, I feel like I had to take the bullet. But Spirit was like, hey, Phoebe, guess what? You're going to take the bullet because you asked for a sign earlier. Mm-hmm. And then...
Yo, it's the way when you talk to Spirit and say, please show me the sign. Sometimes it's like, okay, if you're asking for something... We were just talking about this upstairs, just asking for something, and then when it comes to us, it's going to be, I feel like it's always like a version of what it is that you asked for, but Spirit has to always add a little razzle-dazzle.
Yeah, just puts a little zest in it for you. And so yeah, that night I literally ended up screaming. I quit in the kitchen and I walked out and I was like, I'm done. I'm fucking over this. And I left. And then I stayed, I think I finished out 2 weeks though for them because I'm like a decent person. Although I just showed up and I stopped caring. I was like, people would be like, hey, baby, should I do this? And I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like, just whatever you want to do. So yeah, they lost my loyalty for sure pretty quick after that. Anyway, yeah, so Spirit definitely let me know, like, hey, don't keep doing this job. You got to get out of this environment. And I'm glad I did. I look back now, it's been quite a journey since then, but I'm happy where I am now.
I feel like this entire year, my last video I posted, it's a pretty long one, it's 50 minutes. It's me sharing my story with what the beginning of this year looked like for me. And I feel like the last 2 years have just been one big divine intervention for me in so many ways, because I feel like I am someone, especially with certain things, when I just am not ready to make a change for myself, like I will just ignore my intuition. I'll ignore like the red flags that are literally waving in my face so hard, just like waving in my face, me ignoring it until it's like Spirit intervenes and it's just like, okay, I'm going to take it out of your life in this explosive way. And
yeah, you lost control.
Like you lost control. Like you can no longer be in the front seat. You need to sit, go in the back. Yeah, like we need to like reel it back in a little bit. But I don't know, I feel like I'm starting to learn how to appreciate it. Appreciate it when it comes, because it's honestly not easy to accept a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think sometimes Spirit likes to like, I feel like I get smacked in the face sometimes by Spirit, but it's kind of like you said, like I'm like, yeah, that's after ignoring a lot of gentle signs from the universe to be like, hey.
The signs will be so gentle,
please,
like,
and then finally, like after not listening to so many signs, like you just get smacked until you're like, oh, yep, all right, got it.
The universe grips you up. Yeah.
I got it, all right.
Yeah.
Like also for me, like smoking, that was one of the things, like I've been like really trying to quit smoking because I've been such a chain smoker in a lot of ways, like both with the weed and
The ciggies.
the ciggies, because I love my nicotine. Which, like, oof, a vulnerable place for me to be sharing that on the internet. But truly, like, you know, I started younger, and you know, I'm surpassed 10 years of smoking, which isn't cool.
Yeah, I started smoking marijuana, Mary Jane, whatever you want to call her, at like 13.
I was 14.
Yeah, I'm 28 now, so
Yeah.
we love Mary. But definitely respect you, Phoebe, for...
Well, I'm transitioning to, I'm also, what I'm trying to lean into is I like eating edibles still.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still in the consumption of, I will still consume CBD or THC. I won't do a nicotine patch. I'm not like that addicted to nicotine, which I'm proud of myself actually. But it's going to the sauna. I read about it.
Wait, what?
And it works. If you're trying to quit smoking cigarettes, the physical addiction, not the mental, that's a different game, but the physical addiction, which I have had.
The physical addiction means...
To nicotine. Like when you go through withdrawal with it, you know how bad it is.
Yeah.
That you're like, I can't really manage this. Like I always cave. I cave and I have a cigarette. But so going to the sauna, and you go and you sweat for like 25, 30 minutes in the sauna for like 3 or 4 days in a row while not smoking, helps you completely detox.
Oh, wow.
All of the like things and the fixins that basically make you want to crave your body's physical attachment to making you want the cigarette again. So I do recommend that because that's helped.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I feel like I've really weaned off of smoking for the most part, but it took a lot of signs from Spirit to be like, I actually had 2 people that were in touch with mediums, and the medium told them to tell me to stop smoking. So that happened twice. Like 2 completely different people that didn't know each other. And I was like,
I told her to stop smoking too, but...
Yeah. Everybody does. They would be like, yo. And I'm like, I know.
Listen, we're being gentle with ourselves, especially going into this next year.
Yeah.
We got to take our time with ourselves and be patient and understand that shit takes time to like, especially when it comes to unlearning behaviors that have been so ingrained into your system for so long. Yeah. Like, I feel like when there's people who really, the neurotypicals, you know what I mean? Like the people who just seem to have it all together, whatever, like kudos to you. But like those people like are the first ones to be like, why can't you just stop? Why is it not easy for you to shift out of whatever it is that you are trying to overcome? And it's like, especially when it's like the mental blocks, like it's not something that is just going to, I snap my finger and it's done, especially when it's like years and years of like programmed thinking that you have existed in however long. It's not something that's just going to vanish. And I think it's something that's definitely going to be a part of you probably forever. You know what I mean?
Not saying altered like an aspect of you.
Yeah, like I don't think it's going to be something that may consistently be a thing, but I think it's always going to be something that, you know, you have to be aware of. I'm trying to think of my divine interventions. Y'all, I feel like the biggest one for me, I talked about it briefly in my video that I just posted, but I think one of the biggest divine interventions for me, I was in an abusive relationship and I was ignoring all of the red signs, as most people do that are in abusive relationships and toxic relationships. And for the most part, until things got to the point where it's like, okay, like it's too much now, for the most part, when I was ignoring those like red flags that were coming up in the beginning, I feel like my support system really did give me grace to learn the lessons I needed to learn on my own without trying to be like, you need to do this, this, and this. Like, you know what I mean? Which I really do appreciate, because I feel like I was able to come to terms with, you know, needing to walk away and like really recognizing it. But I feel like being in this relationship, I was ignoring all the red flags. And when it got to the point when things got physical, I had a conversation with the universe. I feel like this is probably the most intense divine intervention I ever experienced, and it was me receiving $10,600 like from the universe out of nowhere. And I was talking to the universe and I was just saying like, whatever you need to give me, please bring it my way when it comes to abundance. Like, I need this abundance because when it comes to me, I am going to be in a much happier place. I'm going to be so much more grounded. Like we were saying, asking for things and expecting it to look a certain type of way. I was under the impression when I got this random amount of abundance, I wanted this abundance so I can move to Atlanta because I want to move to Atlanta and things like that. I thought I was going to be in Atlanta now already. I was going to use this money to get me ahead in the things that I wanted to do. And when I found this money on the ground after I like manifested like abundance, I found $10,600 individually banded in thousands and in LA on the street of LA. Like, this shit is not a joke. You can ask Phoebe. I sent her the footage. I was worried when I went to the bank that it was gonna be fake. I thought it was gonna be fake money, but it was real money. I got that money and I don't know, it ended up being the money that saved my life. I used that money to get out of the relationship, to be able to move from LA back home to PA. I used that money to pay for the lawyer who was that was like my saving grace. Like, everything to get me out of this toxic relationship, that was divine intervention, and that was spirit handing me that, being like, girl, you're gonna need this. Like, I'm gonna give this to you. Feel bad for whoever lost that. I don't know how you lose $10,600, but you know, I did a prayer over the money too, because I was like, I don't know.
We got cleanse it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, I don't
know
know where this was at. I need to definitely cleanse it up a little bit. What else about divine intervention?
It's just a really cool concept that, like, I don't know, I really love being, as somebody who I grew up Catholic. I grew up with like religion kind of forced on me. Not in a super intense way. I've definitely met like more strict families around religion, but like I went to CCD and like all that stuff, and so that's kind of where my connection to like faith came from, and like this like feeling, it's a feeling inside of you of like connecting to something that's greater than you. Is like the only way I can express it, is that it's like it's just something bigger than you, that knows more than you, that has more power than you do. I don't know. And like it's
listening to you,
kind of where we come from. Like where do you think your consciousness stems from? What is it fractaling from? And it's this like energy, is the source. But I see it as I've kind of transcended from a very monotheistic, like religious affiliation to someone who's just really open-ended and kind of like what resonates with me. Like, you know, when you hear a song you really like, and you're like, yeah, like it just like tickles your ears and you like vibes your brain the right way. When I hear something from like certain scripture or different stories that just resonates with me the way I like a song, I'll be like, yep, I'll accept that. Sure. Like, you know, but also not take it too seriously. Like, I think that's also a really important aspect, is like, you know, don't take this stuff too close to heart. Like, keep your heart light and gentle about things so that you can stay open. And then that's how you don't become like, you know, an evil bigot.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying, like, we all know our religious people with sticks stuck up their butts.
That is like, I never like directly dealt with the trauma that can come with religion for a lot of people.
In all the different ways.
In all the different ways. And like, that is something that I dealt with my ex when it came to just being a bystander, watching like how her very religious like Christian family like treated her. And like, even though it's like, don't want to be in that relationship or anything like that anymore, but it's just like, I still feel very bad that she had to deal with that with her family, because her family was like on a different level. But yeah, you guys, this is the first video. I don't want it to be too long or anything like that. I just wanted to get on here and talk with my homie, talk about something that we both resonate with and something that is constantly happening in our life, and
share your divine intervention stories. Like, drop that in the comments. Like, I would love for us to go over and read other stories, because like they're just cool to hear. It reminds you that like magic's kind of real or something. I don't know, like I just think that that's like a fun topic to to open up a conversation to have. So
yeah, let's do it. And hopefully I'll see you in the next Tea Time with the Homies. Bye.
bye.